before we redo the refactoring that I did in the lecture, I want to show you a small trick that some people use and that I also used in my code, which is a mock that returns a mock. That gets really useful when you have like a chain of invocations and you kind of need to mock the entire invocation. So let's do this in source code, and I'm going to create abstract examples just to make things clear, okay? So I'm going to create this class A. A depends on a class B, okay? So let's just create this B. Great, and let's say that B has this method public int number that returns a number, okay? So A has B, and A has a method that I'm going to call B that simply returns our instance of B. Yeah, so A has B, and B has this number method. Great. So now we have another class that I'm going to call it integration AB, and this class receives A, okay? And it has a method that I'm going to call doMagic. And what it basically does is it does a.b.number, right? So this returns to us a number, and this method returns if number is smaller than 10, it returns true, otherwise it returns false. Let's fix the signature of the method. Yeah, so very simple method, but then there is this tricky thing here, right? So a dot b. So if you separate this in 2 lines, you see that the method b returns an instance of b, and then in here we invoke this b.number. And let's suppose we want to write a unit test for this, and we want to use mocks. Okay, so we are going to test this integration AB, and we are going to mock A. So integration AB test. We have a test. Let's just call it test1. And that means we will create this class, integration AB. And this class needs to receive a name, right? So let's create this local variable. And I'm going to use Mockito here. I'm going to, mock A. Okay. This returns the integration. Perfect. So I create a mock of A. I pass A to this integration AB. And then I do a dot, integration dot do magic. This returns me a Boolean, right, that I can do my assertions. Let's say assert that result. This comes from assert J. Let's suppose this is true, right? So this test is about testing the true behavior. However, I created the mock, but I need to teach the mock what to do, right? So let's see. So in this production code, A is used here, and then the method B is invoked. And B returns an object B, which then later is used in here. So we call b.number. So what we need to mock is actually this number method, right? The return of this number method, because then it gives us the integer that we can then use to make the program to return true or to return false. So we need to mock B. But we cannot really pass B to this class, right? Because this class only receives A. But A returns AB. So that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to create another mock here that's going to be a mock of B. Yeah. And then the first thing we'll do is let me just do the static import so that it reads more beautifully here. And we're gonna do when a.b, then return, let's import Mockito so that the auto-completion works, then returns b. Yeah. So basically mock a, when b is invoked, will return the mock. Yeah. And then finally we can say that when b.number, then return, and then let's see, to return a true, it has to be a number smaller than 10. So let's say 5. If we run these tests, compiling, method test true should be public. I don't know why this is using JUnit 4 to run the tests. It's not a problem that I'm going to solve now, so I'm going to simply solve this by putting a public. So why my IntelliJ is trying to use JUnit 4, that's a question for later, okay? But the test passes. And let's do like this. Let's debug. So let's do like this. Debug. So IntelliJ will now stop at the line that I want. And I can see that A is mock for A, B is a mock for B. Then this is the do magic, right? And this is the method we are interested in. So let's go in. And A.b is going to happen. Let's just inspect this. So I'm going to do evaluate expression. Let's see what happens. So when I call A.b, it returns mock for B, right? That's precisely what we want. Great. So now we have a mock here. I can inspect to see what's going to happen in here. So it returns 5 as expected. So everything continues. Yeah. So what I want you to see is this, right? A mock returning a mock. So A is a mock. When B is invoked, it returns another mock. And this is used for the cascading executions that we can have in here, right? So let's do this in one line again. So this was like this. And you can see, right? So number is what we want to mock, but that's only possible if I mock A first, and then A, when B is invoked, it returns a mock here. So this is mocks return mocks is what kind of happens in real life, because your programs are going to get more complicated, right? And then they will depend on other stuff. So unfortunately, at the end of the day, at some point you're going to have to do something like this. Can you avoid this? Yeah, maybe you can design your application in a different way so that those things don't really happen. But if they do happen, and if you're okay with your design, so they're not, if you think that's a good design anyway, so then you can do mocks returning mocks. Okay, so understanding this, one mock returning another mock, is very important to understand the refactoring and how the test code in the refactoring works. Okay.